I come out of the ensemble theater, so I was looking to, and I'm always looking to put together groups of actors that you want to work with. So if you've worked with people that you really like, you like gather them up any which way you can. And George Clooney had been doing a lot of things around the Warner's lot and was well known. And around the Warner's lot and had been playing a character. I could be getting it wrong, but I'm pretty sure the character's name was Raven on Sisters, and he rode a motorcycle and he had really long hair. And he read the script when it was around the lot before, really when it was just getting picked up, before I'd hired Rod Holcomb, and I knew George a little bit, and he called me up and said, I want to play Ross, and he came into the office, he'd memorized the scene that, the best scene in the piece for Ross, and he was great, and so really we'd barely hired a director when George came on. Warner's was very reluctant about putting him into what was considered to be a secondary role on the show because they had a detective series that CBS wanted to make that they were going to do only with George. But George stuck to his guns and said, no, this is what I want to do. Anthony Edwards had come in and he was wonderful. Had changed. I sort of still thought of him as like Goose in... Then he came in and he'd lost a bunch of hair. He was like kind of sort of perfect. And then called me up and said, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do it. This little movie I'm supposed to direct is going. Can't do it. So we kept casting. Juliana Margulies' character was dead in the pilot. She literally died at the end of the pilot and tested so well that we had her live in kind of a medically ridiculous way, but we got over it. And she'd been doing a small part in Homicide and just happened to come in for a day player part. Noah Wiley kind of came out of nowhere, just kept getting better and better in the auditions. Sherry Stringfield was over on NYPD Blue driving Stephen crazy, and she said she was going to leave the show. I couldn't believe it. It was a huge hit. It was the first year, and so I called Steve, and he said, yeah, she's kind of driving me crazy, and she'll drive you crazy too, but we are definitely going to get rid of her if you want to use it. She wants to go, and we want her to go. And she was wonderful and drove me a little crazy, and still does. She came back to the show. She left the show. She's never been quite sure she wanted to be doing this, I think. And Eric LaSalle we cast on the fourth day of shoot. He had been doing a pilot up in Portland and came down. We could not find that part. So it all just kind of slowly came together. Tony Edwards called me and said, oh, my movie got pushed like 4 weeks if you can make that schedule work. And that's how we ended up in the show.